Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is an emergency commission meeting. This meeting has been called in as an emergency meeting at the request of Mayor Lopez. Meeting is being scheduled for Tuesday, March 29, 2016 at 8 p.m. Commission Chambers, 500 Southwest, 109th Avenue. It is right now 8:07 p.m. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Clerk will note the absence of Mayor Lopez and of Commissioner Barrett.
Let's stand up for the pledge of allegiance and the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let's pray. Our dear Lord and good God, thank you, Lord, for your blessings, for your guidance, and for your love and forgiveness. Tonight, we ask you to lead our meeting with wisdom and always seeking what is better for our community. Bless our nation, bless our soldiers that defend our liberties and democracy all over the world as well as at home. Stay with us, because in your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right. We move to public comments. There is anyone in the audience that wants to state any comments about this meeting, please come forward. No one is coming forward. Public comments are closed. We have item number 5, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Sweetwater, Florida, authorizing the mayor to execute professional service agreements with Kent Stapleton and Associates and providing an effective date.
Mr. President, if I believe that this is all part of one project, so if you like,
you
you
read
can
the
read
three
all
of
three,
them?
that way you can discuss
Okay.
the project in
All right.
its totality.
Yeah, since the 3 items are related to the same project, we are gonna continue reading them and then discuss and vote accordingly. Item number 6 is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Sweetwater, Florida, authorizing the mayor to execute a professional service agreement with NC Office and provide an effective date. And item number 7 is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Sweetwater, Florida, authorizing the mayor to execute professional service agreement with T.Y. Lin and Associates and providing an effective date. I have read and I sat down with Mr. Gustafson last week, and he explained me the vision and all the positive repercussion that this grant could have for the city and the University City project, as to expand the scope of improvement and the vision of the University City. And I think that all that is it sounds great, and I think it'll be good for the city. But now, before we move to vote, I would like to ask, where are these fundings coming from?
All right, what's being proposed here is impact fees, and also we'd like to throw out there's some professional fees which are set aside in the budget that are available as well.
So the professional fees that are available in the budget are good enough to pay this amount of monies?
No, it wouldn't be the entire amount. It would be more aimed towards Ken Stapleton's services. And we can kind of break all these down, what they do. But between those and impact fees, to not, pardon the pun, but the impact fees, that could be an option. If not, impact fees can be, as per the ordinance and as per some amendments that we're going to be doing to them, utilized towards professional services that are geared towards expansion of capital improvements. That's how the resolution reads.
Guillermo?
Yes, I just want to caution everyone to realize that right now, the information in the resolutions specific to the funds necessary to carry out this project, it's blank right now. So prior to you approving these resolutions, we do need to have, we must place in those resolutions the actual
Funding source.
funding sources. This, specifically, we need to go ahead and plug them in those resolutions, because otherwise you don't have the appropriate spending authority. So I want to make sure that whatever the commission approves, and for purposes of this resolution and the project itself, that we have the funding sources spelled out in the resolutions. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to spend the money accordingly.
Completely understood, then we could propose impact fees if that's okay with
Which ones?
the commission. Well, these projects, they span the different categories of impact fees. There would be, really and truly, what we could do is simply do an analysis, have a kind of a breakdown, and accordingly, because for instance, CHIPA, one of the biggest pursuits in this project is gonna definitely be to try to acquire some land to do a garage, which we are in desperate need of. I work in the mayor's office, okay?
Absolutely.
The parking is colossal here, and imagine when those commercial spaces get filled in these mixed-use buildings and more people have guests. Dire need. CHIPA is a plaza, a park. So that's just to give you an example. What we could do is, what I'm proposing is we could do proportions and do it accordingly. And other services will be geared towards accommodating not accommodating, towards expanding general government and policing and safety services. So they could be spread out through all of them so that one category is not disproportionately affected.
And I think that you definitely need that if you're gonna use impact fees. The use of impact fees is delicate because you have to make sure that it goes to
To the right.
exactly, that you actually meet the
project.
criteria to be able to spend the different types of impact fees. And I would hesitate to just go ahead and mention, hey, that we can get it from 3 or 4 different impact fee sources without the benefit of the analysis, because you want that coverage, making sure that there are no questions later on as to whether or not there was an appropriate use of impact fees. So,
Without a doubt. In terms of the, of the allowable uses in the ordinance, it is appropriate, but that's why I use the word proportionate and to do an analysis. And to take it a step further, concurrency fees it's a different thing. It means your ability to meet levels of service spelled out in the city's comprehensive plan. Also, I would like to request permission if I could analyze the concurrency fee ordinance to also see if that fits in the equation, to spread things more proportionately. Would that be something?
But based on what you say, Robert, and based on what Guillermo said, I believe that if we pass this tonight, we are already approving those fundings for the consultants.
the problem, Mr. President, is not, it seems to me that there is an appetite to approve this by the commission. That's not in question, and I'm making an assumption. The issue simply is, in order to have, in order for you to do this the proper way, if you're gonna utilize impact fees and maybe concurrency fees, if you're gonna utilize those, you have to show that you are meeting the criteria to be able to use, whether it is transportation impact fees or any other impact fee. You need to show that. So I believe that analysis is necessary. Not only that, but also the amounts that you're gonna be drawing from each one of those funds.
I believe so.
I really do not know how much money there is there. You do have a meeting Monday in which you can go ahead and revisit this if you have all that information in place.
Okay, the thing is, we are facing a critical juncture. I wish we could tell the federal government, hey, extend the Tiger deadline, but there have been numerous instances in the past where an approval is granted contingent upon X thing. Is that something possible so that we can move forward? If not, we are basically putting nails in the coffin, because every day that passes by, we're basically at a month's time away, and this is it's an orchestrated effort. Several people drawing, writing, and then all of it coming in for approval and editing. We've identified the plan.
Through the chair, if I can.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
The problem that I have is that, Robert and I have gone over some of the impact fees, and we have substantial impact fees in some areas. But for example, transportation, we're showing 0, which is wrong, by the way. The finance department has a disaster as far as the impact fees, as far as I'm concerned, with the little bit of research that I've done, and I asked for it, and you're wrong. And for example, one of them is transportation, it shows 0. So that's one fund that we don't have the money to give. And that's probably one of the main ones that we have to draw from.
Like I said, in the interest of time, I mean, we would really have to start moving forward, or if not, people, working on this project are gonna step away, because it's not, we're at a juncture where we need to dream up things still, draw out things, and then everybody come back to the table, and that's in a month. And, additionally, some of the key people here, myself and Tom Gustafson, have,
Well, can
80
do you
other
work
things to
under
do.
Excuse me. Do you think can you work under the assumption that the commission, if given the right numbers, is gonna approve it? What's the latest time that you could have a decision from us?
that, we're basically a month away. I mean, anybody, Mr. Alonso.
So you wanted to,
If we wanna defer, but just, every day that passes by is
Right,
a nail in the coffin, and then
like-
we're gonna, this is gonna mean, up to midnight or 1 in the morning for us, because everybody has to do everything, and then throw it to the editing committee, which is really when the writing takes place.
Mr. President?
yes,
And if I may, and one thing that I want to make clear is, I just want to make sure that there is a proper vehicle to make the payments, that you have the funds available, and that you can actually tap into those funds. That is where I'm coming from. I think that today, you attended an event that shows you the results of the Tiger Grant. So, the issue simply here is
Let's do it right.
is isolating the funding sources, because they have to be spelled out in your legislative item. Otherwise, you may have some issues as to the authority and or ability to pay. And that's the only issue that I'm raising.
I understand.
I'm
Go ahead, sir.
sympathetic to the point made, very sympathetic. But I just want to sort of frame it for you and see what steps we can do tonight. Francisco is here to represent 1/3 of the team that I've recommended be assembled. The other one is Christina, Elizabeth Cardona from NC Office, who you worked on to develop your plans for the Memorial Plaza. And the other one is Ken Stapleton, who's been working on this thing with me on the FIU side since 2011-12. We didn't use them in 13 because I ended up writing the whole thing myself. The bottom line is this. FIU is now finally warm to the point where they want you to file. It wasn't so warm the first time I mentioned to them, to be quite honest. They've now authorized me to help the team if you hire them. As long as I don't write it, I can edit it and give guidance. So that's my restriction. I'm not your employee, so
Right.
I'm dedicating some time to help you. We have some ideas that we're interested in at FIU, but they're clearly on Sweetwater oriented space. We do have a completion date of the 29th. You've turned it on the 30th and you've just wasted your time. One day late, it's over. So now what we have to do is get a clear signal from the commission. The reason is, we want a kickoff meeting on a project that hasn't been approved tomorrow at 10:30. And they need to get a clear idea in their head of what they're doing. Ken's got to do the writing plus economic analysis and crime prevention through environmental design at night. Francisco's got to figure out what the engineering drawings might look like and what the costs are and the cost benefits. And Christina has to start figuring out, and I want to explain this, not just the first 10,000, but eventually a 70,000 more master plan, because the USDOT will not fund Tiger if they're the first dollars in. You got to have a project running, and then Tiger comes in to help you. Well, what's your project? I don't see one yet, but if you could do, say on Monday, if you could do Elizabeth's contract, the 10,000 to help us get some initial images, and the 70, which is going to look at your master plan and your zoning, then I'm going to talk about that second contract as your first step on your own. Now that second contract can be paid for by the grant, and it can be held in abeyance until the grant money comes in. So you only need to cover the first 10. But I'm now thinking through the grantsmanship. By the way, our competition is Miami Beach and Miami-Dade County, and it just scares the heck out of me whether I can help some 3 very good consultants write a better grant, a smarter grant than everybody else. And I think actually we can. They just told us today that our Tiger grant was the basis of their current regime of grants across a broad spectrum of DOT. They like the combination of infrastructure, the Informed Traveler Program, which is an intelligent transportation system, and the cleanup of the vehicles, so you have a better community transit. So they like what we
Let
do.
me ask you a question.
We just have to
Tom.
write it. So today, a baby step is required.
And then it has to.
These projects have to be within the city, the university city?
Here's the current thinking. We need to say this is part two of University City. University City was something that was focused on US 41 and the connection between FIU and Sweetwater. It's a joint venture. But this one is a Sweetwater project. So it's gonna start at 6th Street and go all the way to Flagler. It's gonna connect to the intersection of Flagler and 107th, and it's gonna hop across to the engineering building where there needs to be an express bus stop, serving your constituents as well, because express buses for northbound have to stop at the engineering center. For southbound, they would stop on the shopping centers by
If
Ramon
I
and
can, to the
Swope.
chair.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just a reminder, amongst all this stuff, something that's been so critical for so long here is something hopping across 107th on 4th to the elementary
Yes,
school.
yes. And that
Something big's gotta go there.
and that's in there.
Safe intersections
Yeah, but something,
on 4 and 107. Safe intersections is in there.
even an overpass, but something small, but an
It
overpass.
won't be an overpass. The Europeans have an excellent design to create a safe walking at grade for 4th and 107th. We'll probably have an elevated bridge at Flagler and 107, and we'll have Chippa. We think focused on the right-of-way acquisition. Haven't worked out all the details yet, but just to get Chippa going, because Chippa wants to be a 3P. We just have to secure the land somehow. So what I'm telling you is, as best we can tell, without yet starting the work, we have a pretty good framework on how to do it that'll be competitive. I want to tell you one more thing, and as honest as I can make it, I'm not sure we can win in 16. But I know if I write it in 16, we can win it in 17. You get in line. And so you gotta have a really high quality product, gets real close to winning, they feel bad about not giving it to you, and they give it to you the next year. So this is gaming now for how much money? 20 million and not a penny less. I'm gonna tell you this, I think there's a $20 million grant here and not a penny less. That's what I think. But they gotta get to work. So what would be a baby step? A baby step would be whatever the city attorney allows in the neighborhood of a resolution desiring to go forward and putting it specifically on the agenda, not only to vote the 3 contracts informal by whatever means that can be done, but also that $70,000 second contract of Elizabeth, conditioned on the fact it's gonna be paid for out of the grant. So I can get all the contracts signed that need to be signed, A, to write the grant, and B, to reference Elizabeth's second contract in the grant. You give me that, I'll give you about a 70-30 chance of winning in 16, and about a 90-10 chance of winning in 17. That's my best guess on what I think
Right,
is out
but we
there.
have to, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
We have to get the number, see exactly what,
Yeah.
we're gonna get the 10 from. Can't be from transportation, we got 0.
But a formal
Which is wrong.
vote tonight to make him feel comfortable he's not wasting his time, and a hard vote with the numbers by Monday might keep them going. I've got the biggest problem. Ken Stapleton is a one-man shop. The moment he gets somebody else to hire him, he's gone for a month. My problem isn't getting it written, it's making sure these guys don't find something better to do with their time. So you gotta vote something tonight to tell me you're gonna do it, and then approve the contracts on Monday, and maybe they won't go find something else to do with their time. Because I've been holding them now for a month, trying to say, how do we get to the commission? Because it cannot write itself. And I've said this, no disrespect to Robert, who is no matter who's mayor, he's connected to me at the hip. And we're trying to build something for Sweetwater, but we can't do it barehanded.
Exactly, and that's one thing too from the staff point of view. Talent-wise and grantsmanship-wise, sure, he and I could put that in, no problem. But the thing is, there's 4 weeks. There's 4 weeks. We need for Ken Stapleton to start slapping it together. We will edit, which is when the true honing and real deal goes through. But then it has to come back, like on Tigers 1 and 2, it's going to be sent from here, from the city. So it's going to put ungodly pressure on staff here. And thank God that also the very brilliant Indira is going to help me out. But it's going to be very tough.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
I have several questions. Because time is so important, why do we wait until today to present?
The
this
Federal
to the
Register published this at the very end of February. We started finding out in April, started putting together the team, had a meeting to see if this would really work, and now we're here. We did it as fast as we could. This was advertised to Florida at the beginning of March.
And I want to take some of the blame. I got blocked for 2 weeks over at FIU. They weren't sure They didn't
But-
wanna do it themselves.
But like I said, this got put in the Federal Register on February 26th of this year. There's only 2 months to do it. Do they do it on purpose like that to make it more competitive? Don't know.
I heard Tom saying that we have to make this gentleman comfortable, feeling comfortable, that at 10:30 tomorrow in his meeting, he's got an approved project. Well, me as a commissioner, I have to feel also comfortable. Where is the money coming from? We have a big budget problem here.
Here's what I know. If there's a will, there's a way. If you wanna do it, you got a professional fee account, you got impact fees, and you got concurrency. If you say to your staff and your lawyer, get it done by Monday, or we'll be very unhappy with you because we're wasting his time, I'm telling you, it will get done.
Well, wait
I
a
have
minute,
no
wait a
doubt.
minute. With all due,
No, but Tom,
has nothing to do with them not doing their job. It's a matter of, as a matter of fact, the mayor's not here.
The matter
Rob's
of
not here.
This is
reality.
He's the one that called an emergency meeting.
This is not a ball game, and the mayor, quite frankly, without
True.
defending the mayor,
Go ahead,
the
go ahead,
mayor
sir.
believes that the more he advocates for it, the more there will be some opposition to it. So here's what his decision, not mine. His decision is he supports it, and I'm conveying to you what Robert and I.
he should be here
You
then.
should tell us that.
And that's a different issue. Maybe he'll be here Monday,
Mr.
and
President?
therefore it doesn't matter. But we've gotta thrash out, we've gotta have, this is a workshop really. We gotta thrash out if you wanna do it. And if you wanna do it, on Monday, he'll be here and you'll vote.
Hold on, Commissioner Soraya.
I haven't finished yet.
Yes, sir.
You just said it, or our chair said it, and I was going to say it, so I'm going to repeat it. If this is so important, our mayor should have been here.
Should have been.
He is the one who called this meeting. He's for the project. See all the questions that we have? The mayor should have been here today for such an important
Even if
issue.
that's, even if that's an error,
Yeah.
what's the remedy? Is the
No.
remedy not to file a grant, or is the remedy to overlook the error and move forward?
You just mentioned a while ago that this project goes from Sixth Street to Flagger.
Yes, I think so. There may be some improvements that we're able to backfeed into the original area, but most of it will be to the north of Second Street, or Sixth Street, correct?
Because in the scope of work of Tiling International, they mentioned 7 terrace.
Yes.
On page
Because-
on page 104, 1 of 4.
Because we may wanna backfill in some improvements. For example, we've never funded the community transit stops. So we probably add in those community transit stops. We didn't wanna block ourselves in. Most of the money needs to go north of Sixth. Some of the money will go back in to fill in stuff we didn't do under University City.
A complete street can never be complete enough, and plus, going up the road, we may realize, oh man, we forgot to put whatever bike racks back that way. So to contemplate the entire scope is wise.
Robert, this one is for you. On the 3 resolutions, they have the same thing on item 5, 6, and 7, the 3 resolutions. On page 2, section 2, there is a blank line on the 3 resolutions before the amount of money that is going to cost that project.
Okay, and that's the fund type, because for instance, in resolution,
To spend blank funds in the amount of 17,500, what does
uh,
that mean?
it does, that means impact fee funds, professional, that means the budget category. Am I correct, Mr. Attorney?
Well, that's what I was alluding to earlier.
That is what is,
Right.
you're talking that is missing.
Correct.
It says the amount, but just not the budget
Like impact
category.
fee funds or,
that will be
Use, yeah.
impact fees fund, or concurrency fund.
oh, because it
yeah.
sounds like it's an amount of the 10,000.
Yeah.
No, but it says, yeah, the numbers are subsequent.
Mr. President?
Yes, sir.
No, I just wanna make clear that I only approve things for review and approve for legal sufficiency. As far as whatever policy is decided here is strictly the commission. The administration can definitely make recommendations to the administration. So my role is limited. In this particular instance, all I wanna highlight is that specific section you're referring to has to be specifically delineated so that we give the administration the property spending authority to carry out what's in those resolutions.
So that blank line is what we are requesting that we should have today.
Correct.
The definition of what impact fees were.
Correct. And
What type of
typically,
funds?
type of
typically,
fund.
there are instances, Commissioner Suarez, where items come in like that with that blank, and here it is
It's where it's determined. We can recommend, but
is
you
determined.
guys are the ones who approve it.
The only issue that I raise, is that if we are going to use several categories of impact fees, that we want to make sure that that has been analyzed and plug in there so that there is no question later on as to the inappropriate use of impact fees. That's the only thing I'm trying to avoid. Procedurally, this is an emergency meeting, and even if you wanted to entertain some last minute item here to go ahead and perhaps give Tom and the team a notion that, hey, this is going to move forward, we couldn't do it procedurally. To assist in what you're attempting to do, what I propose is, even though it's non-binding, and I'll be the first one to say it, Mr. President, you can conduct a straw poll here that if the administration provides you the numbers showing that, you know, meets the criteria for utilization of impacted concurrency fees by Monday, you know, a straw poll right now of your colleagues to give a sense of the folks out here whether or not there is an appetite for approval of this project. That is one option. Unfortunately, you cannot take any other action that is outside what's on the agenda because of the nature of the meeting. It's an emergency meeting, and you are limited to only the items in the emergency meeting agenda. I don't want to create obstacles for this. It's simply procedurally the posture of these items. However, the straw poll, although it's not binding, I believe that may send a message to these folks as to whether or not there's an appetite to approve this.
Okay, I still have the floor. Robert, one of the projects says that the cost is $10,000 in 2016 and $70,000 in 2017. If we approve this, we are bound
No, sir.
to pay this.
No, sir. What we would be approving tonight, I forwarded that today to the clerk's office, copying the city attorney. It's a contract just for the 10,000, which is what we need for this immediate project.
But you do need the
Go ahead.
70,000 contract approved before April 29th, or I can't reference it in the grant. I need to be able to reference it in the grant.
Right, but they have been separated. That one there was just a placeholder originally, and it's been superseded by another one.
Go ahead, Mr. Quadra.
Yes, thank you. To your question, I had this conversation with Robert yesterday in preparation for this meeting. That frankly, you wouldn't be able to bring the full item here today because of the amount of money. In any case, the only thing that's going to be spent on 2016 is $10,000. So I suggested to Robert to bring a modified agreement for those $10,000. Now, you could on Monday approve phase 2 of that particular, the contract you're talking about, the 10 and 70. Robert provided one for just 10. However, if there are any needs relevant to what I'm hearing from Mr. Gustafson right now, you could approve something for 2017, but at least for the time being not funded, or provide some funding mechanism within the grant itself should it be awarded. In other words, make it contingent. That you could do.
Guillermo, those monies can be reimbursed with the money from the grant.
Yeah, our intention is to write the grant so that the $70,000 is paid out of the grant. But I need you to sign and approve the contract so I can talk about it in the grant as being one of the things we have to fund. If you don't sign it, I've got nothing to talk about. So the 10,000 helps us write the grant, get the images. The 70,000 helps us do the grant work and must be referenced in the grant, but only if it's a signed agreement, subject to being funded later.
And from previous years, Tom, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Tiger grant encourages a ratio of 20 to 80.
Yeah, there's a match fund problem, but this won't solve that. There's a match fund problem that we're gonna have to imagine how to get match funds into it. I don't have all the answers yet, but one of the times in 2011, we were actually gonna use the 109 project as match. Now, we've learned a little bit since then, and you still have the Continental Bank unit going up. So we're gonna be searching at every dollar you're spending over the next 3 or 4 years and try to call it match. It's again, the gaming of the grant. And I can't answer it now because I haven't spent the next 30 days figuring it out. But we'll wanna look at your entire capital program that you anticipate for the next 3 or 4 years, and as much of that as we can call grant, all the impact fees, anything you've got, we've got to pack in. They usually want at least 20% match. If it's a $20 million grant, that's $4 million we gotta find of money you were gonna spend somehow, some way. But some of the times you can do it with anticipation. For example, if you're gonna do CHIPA, that assumes the development. Well, what the impact of the development of CHIPA? Well, that might be $4 million impact fees. Okay, there's your match. So we have to game it. This is a sophisticated, complex, and blindingly difficult grant to write. I've done it 3 times, and I don't sleep for a month when this is going on. So the more time you give us, the better. A strong vote, however the city attorney says tonight, might keep them at the table tomorrow, so we can game plan what we do starting Monday if you'll give us a vote. We would also love it to be as early as possible on Monday, because literally, we're now counting hours. I
Okay,
wouldn't do
excuse
this
me.
bad, but I can't,
Okay.
I
Wait,
can't
he
make
still
it
has-
possible.
Are you?
So, I still have the
Go ahead,
floor,
Commissioner.
whether you guys believe it or not. There is an item on the last proposal, Tai Lin International, that is 0.71% of the cost, which is defined here as FCCM. What is FCCM? The last page, last one.
La compañía que estaba fabricando.
The last page of the package.
The Exhibit B?
Exhibit B, yeah,
Okay.
on the right side, FCCM. It's only $41, but I am interested
I
in-
will, yeah, I'm gonna defer to the company, that looks like sort of a tariff or something, or
It's an overhead figure.
Yeah. I know it's an overhead figure, but I just wonder what that means. I have another
yeah.
NOFA.
NOFA?
NOFA,
That's a notice of fund availability. Is that what it's?
Notice of Fund Availability.
Yeah, well, it's called a NOFO here, but it's usually it's a NOFA in grants. Notice of funding availability, that's when the granting agency says, hey, there's funds available, it's an
It's
advertisement.
called NOFO on one part of the package, and it's called NOFA on another part.
Yeah,
and I didn't know what it
it's
was.
semantics. Notice of funding opportunity, notice of funding availability. It's potato and potato, basically.
Okay,
They
I got
used to
it.
call it availability with an A, now they call it opportunity.
Opportunity with an
They
O.
just changed the name
Okay.
of it.
Exactly. But it's good, it means that there's a grant available.
One question. These 3 entities that we are planning to hire have anything to do with what the Henry Eiler was going to do for us, or this is completely different?
Completely different.
Completely different.
Completely different. He's a city planner. One is an engineering firm, the other one is an architectural firm, and the other one is an economic development expert.
And really, the focus is different. What Henry was doing was on the north side, and what we're focusing on is everything from US 41 to Flagler, everything from the Turnpike to 107th. And in that area, we're trying to say, what can we stuff into it that's tighter, including to the engineering building, and probably on both sides of Flagler, probably on both sides of 107th, probably on both sides of US 41. In that area, how do we create a downtown Sweetwater? Through infrastructure improvements up to
What?
$20 million.
As we know it here, one's University City, another one's Sweetwater North.
Okay. Okay, I release the floor.
You also have the floor.
Let me clarification my vote when I say second. It's number 1, put in the table. Number 2, for discussion. For I say second. In clarification, number 1 for putting the table, and number 2 for discussion.
No problem. We'll put it on the
Okay,
table and discuss.
Mr. Attorney, do you think that then we can go ahead tonight and approve amend these items and approve the $10,000 for Francisco NC, right? NC.
These are the options available for you. Number one, specifically identifying a funding source that can be included in the resolutions. And then you can definitely vote on the resolutions. If that is not happening, because we're gonna utilize impact fees, and you gotta be a little bit more specific, because you have to meet the criteria, absent that, procedurally, you are very limited on what you can do right now. For emergency meetings, all you can do is take action on any of these three items. However, a straw poll, which is a non-binding vote, it's almost symbolic more than anything. You could go ahead and do that. In other words, you can be basically taking a poll of your colleagues as to whether or not, if the proper funding source identified.
To offer a sense of comfort so that they don't abandon us and that we're,
Well,
out of gas.
as I spoke to Mr. Guftenson and I spoke to Guillermo also, and Robert, it is in our best interest to help the city to move forward and create an infrastructure that is not only safe, but is also beautiful to the community and to the future generations.
Totally.
So on my particular case, I encourage all the members present here tonight that they really give that vote of confidence to you guys that this is gonna be okay if we have the right funding sources for the.
And Mr. Mayor, sorry, Mr. President, just to have it even more clear, you can basically do your straw poll almost on a roll call basis so it's obvious
do that.
to
Right.
everyone.
So long as the right sources that make sense are determined.
Absolutely.
I have one other suggestion, if I might, Mr. Chairman. One of the things you could do, I just thought of it, is you could put in the word general revenue. Just bear with me. Whatever your word is for general revenue. What's your word for the general
Which
revenue?
which budget would you like us to draw it from?
No, wait.
Yeah.
The
That's
mayor's
our
budget.
problem.
The mayor, in other
No.
words, pick a budget, take it out, vote it, and change it Monday if it's the wrong budget. Now, I understand that you may not like that, so the second choice is to do the roll call and say it is your intention to approve this grant as soon as the administration can find out the appropriate sources. And with, I assume, your director of finance, validate that the money's in the account, and then you'll vote on it again officially on Monday. The good news is that way you can add the $70,000 grant to the vote at the same time, which I need anyway. And if he vouches for it to the other two firms, they might show up Monday at 10:30 and start work, hoping you do what you can do on Monday to close it. Otherwise,
Okay, let's do it.
we're
now.
out of time.
Through the chair,
Yes.
you just mentioned a function that I would like to make it public. The director of finance should have been here tonight also.
Now,
A
we
lot of
cannot
things
conclude anything
should've been.
tonight because we have no information whatsoever.
Yeah, but he would have been able to provide
No,
input.
that's what I'm telling you. If the mayor, the chief of staff, or the finance director would be here tonight, we could have had a good sense of
Where we are.
where we are.
I do have the balances here, but of course, as being staff, I would like to have their reassurance, but I could identify the solution right here and now. It may mean also honing down the scope of the project, because there's a great amount of parks available, so it may be CHIPA intensive, who knows? But as long as you have me on board, we'll think outside of the box to make sure that everything is,
Let's
square and
take a
right.
straw poll, right?
If I may, the suggestion that Mr. Gustafson provided, let me add, are you suggesting that we just plug it into the resolutions right now?
Yes.
That it's, the funding source is the general fund?
Yes.
As I mentioned in the options that I was giving you, that is the first one. If you have a funding source that can be incorporated there, you can go ahead and take action tonight.
And then revisit it Monday.
The only caveat that I give you is not knowing, even though you could change it, is not knowing whether that money is available or not. You can still make that vote, because just like, Florida statutes and even our own code provides that this commission at any time can go ahead and make a budget amendment. Okay, so at any time you can adjust your budget.
But our budget is in the courts right now.
No, That's not the point.
But
Mr. President, there's only one final adopted budget of the commission, and that is the only budget.
Sorry.
And I've always been consistent with my statements. That is the only budget that there is.
I understand that, but that's the one that we are litigating in courts.
Yes.
through the chair,
Go ahead, Commissioner.
yeah, the option that you just described now, attaching general funds there, that we can change at any time because we have the power to amend. The problem that I see is that that is an approval of this resolution. And if we have to back up on it, we may be, for lack of a better word, sued by our 3 contractors for not abiding by what we approved today.
Which can be solved by the following. Your resolution could be, general fund, vote on it, instruct the contractors not to begin till Monday, or Tuesday. What they'll do is they'll know they have a vote, they'll start meeting informally, and they don't start till Tuesday, which means if you wanna stop it on Monday, stop it on Monday. The point is, it's a stronger vote. I don't wanna belabor it, but I can't control the lives of people
Sounds like a
who
good idea.
live.
Through the chair,
Yeah.
I just want to point out that I have an appetite, they have used that word several times tonight, for these good projects. We just have to do the things the right way. And the commission has to protect the city.
And I appreciate that, as I said, I'm sympathetic to the issues raised. I just need you to move as fast as you can, any way you can.
Could we do the straw?
Through the chair?
I'm done.
Well, we've done this before, where when we're not sure of something, like let's say we were gonna do a Halloween party at the park, and we weren't sure of the funds, if we could use them from different sources. We've done it before where, okay, we're gonna get it from general funds, and then later on, we replace it from, oh, we got parks for, fund that, allows for that, or something else. So we've done it, it's not a big deal to do
yeah.
it, and it solves the problem.
Commissioner, that's what I alluded to before. There's been, conditional approvals or something as the
Yeah, but we
placeholder.
have to put something, like he said, so.
That's what I'm saying.
If we put general fund, and we can change it because we're the ones that can change it, then I don't see, and now we solve the problem, and we're not talking 2 hours again on Monday about the same thing.
And should the commission want to go in that direction, we will have to add to Monday's agenda, 3 new resolutions, basically amending these resolutions,
If you need to.
if need be.
And what about if we had to amend it, like I mentioned this already before, and they violated contract, we violated contract by changing things around.
At this point, remember, you are the governing board of the city. I don't think, you can amend these resolutions to basically direct the mayor not to execute the contracts until after Monday, so you don't have a binding agreement.
But you gotta buy some vote.
But we have,
Which can always be rescinded
can
by the
always be
commission.
rescinded, that's right.
But as it relates to your issue, the agreement itself, we can amend that resolution to basically direct the mayor not to execute it until Tuesday, for example. If at that point the commission decides not to go forward with this, on Monday, we can basically rescind those resolutions and you don't have any issues. So your point is well taken. If we don't have an executed agreement, we don't have an agreement. But at least you're sending a message here today that as long as you have the funding issue settled, that you're basically moving forward because you're approving the agreement, conditional to that issue. That is a viable option for the commission.
I like it that way.
So, are we
Does
all?
she have to change her motion? Or that didn't count, because Waddle said he
Yeah,
didn't second it?
because now it's if
Well, no, well, now you make a motion to amend the resolution. Now it's before you, so you can amend it at this point. So you can go ahead and vote on the amendment. When it's amended, then we can proceed with voting on the amended resolution.
So I have a motion to amend, these 3 items altogether?
And to just, for purposes of the record, to clarify the motion is to direct the mayor not to execute any of the specific agreements until
Until
Tuesday,
Tuesday, 5th.
April the 5th. That's the motion.
And I know that will be acceptable.
And we also include in the three motions where it's empty, that it says general fund. Is that what you're?
Yes, that was mentioned, so that will be part of the amendment, to go ahead and, rephrasing the amendment, to go ahead and
Destroy
and
the
clarify that the funding source is general funds, number one, and number two, that there's a directive to the mayor not to execute any of these any of the individual agreements until, April 5th.
So do I have a motion to amend this resolution?
Move.
So the three resolutions all together, Guillermo?
You can take all of them.
Resolution number 5, 6, and 7 are being amended in such a way that the mayor doesn't sign this contract until April the 5th, and that the funding sources be considered from the general funds.
Correct.
Roll call, Madam Clerk?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
All right, Commissioner, who did you recognize as the maker and second of this motion? Motion to amend.
Motion moved by.
It was moved to amend by Commissioner Bergignan and second by Commissioner Yanio.
Okay, Commissioner Morano,
Yes.
Commissioner Suarez,
Yes.
Commissioner Duaso,
Yes.
Commissioner Bergignan,
Yes.
Commissioner Yanio,
Yes.
President Diaz.
Yes. The amended resolution
Oh,
passed unanimously, or 5-6 to 0.
And if I can, Mr.
That's the amendment.
The amended resolution.
No, you voted on the amendment, now.
On the amendment.
The actual resolution.
On
The actual-
As amended.
As amended.
As amended.
So I move on that.
Second.
So there is a
As
motion
amended.
As
by
amended.
Commissioner Bergignan and second by Commissioner Maronio as on this resolution as amended. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Resolution passed 6 to 0.
And Mr. Chairman, if I might, it would be very good for you to make it very clear you want to have this thing addressed on Monday. So the mayor, the staff, the finance guys answer your question. Whether it stays in general fund or goes to a special fund.
Yeah.
you work that out
They'll
on
take
Monday.
care of it.
That'll be answered by tomorrow.
So that they're
Sure,
not-
Robert's gonna be someone's knocking on people's doors like 6:59 tomorrow morning.
With a vengeance. Now, we're gonna do it, and by the way, just wanna let the commission know that this is going to be here, we've really started thinking outside of the box in these years. These studies, everything that's gonna come out of this is gonna serve to apply for many other grants. As you all well know, throughout the years, between Jesus David Barrero and myself, we pulled over $1 million in CDBG funding, for instance. So even if we don't get Tiger, still, maybe a sidewalk project here or there, road project, this money will be made back exponentially in terms of capital improvements.
And can we make a motion to change it from Tiger Grant to Panther Grant?
I say it's a Sweetwater grant. That's what I say.
Sweetwater
It's time
Panther
for
grant.
Sweetwater to get their own grant to finish what University City started.
Okay, if there is no more comments, go ahead. Guillermo.
Just one more for Commissioner Suarez. I used the word appetite, Commissioner, because I'm hungry.
Now that you're losing weight, you're gonna blow it?
Do I have any motion for adjournment?
Move.
Moved by Commissioner Yanio, second by Commissioner Duaso and Maronio. All in favor say aye. Meeting is being adjourned at 8:55.